all ties nicely into the kind of last thing I wanted to chat with you about, and that was just time management. So I guess on social media particularly, in general a little bit as well, but what you said about the mindless or the zombie scrolling, I think you called it, which I really like. So I know for myself, I kind of have a list of maybe 20 or 30 accounts, people that are sort of like-minded, that engage with me a lot and whose content I get a lot out of. And I'll try and make a point of going and checking what they've posted each day. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes I get busy with other things, but I'm trying to be a little bit more mindful of like whose content I'm looking at and not just doing the mindless scroll. But do you have any tips for kind of managing that better, or finding a sort of better way to use the time that we are spending on social media?
Yeah, it really is a hard one, I think, especially because no one sits in front of the TV now and just watches TV. Everyone's doing separate things. I think if there's like a couple of people that you want to keep an eye on, or friends' accounts, or say you're wanting to build a relationship with an influencer, or even a small business, you can actually set a notification in Instagram specifically, so that whenever they post, you'll get a notification. So you can set it to stories, or you can set it to the grid. I mean, I wouldn't do it for stories because it'll just be ding, 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 ding. Having said that, I have set it for quite a few businesses that I'm interested in, but every time the notification comes up, I think I'll just look at it later. But I think if you're trying to build a relationship, you're trying to build your community, and there are, say, 10 or 15 specific people that you really want to keep track of, it is a really good thing to do, because it will stop the mindless scrolling. It will just notificate. What's the word? Notification.
Notify.
Notify.
I had to think about that too.
I could not think notificate. I think notificate definitely needs to be a word. I'm going to put that in my next post.
I like it.
It notificates you when they're posting, so it stops the zombie scrolling a little bit. But then I do find like the more you, and I know everyone probably knows this, but I don't know how much people trust Instagram, and there's all this talk of the algorithm. But, the more you engage with particular accounts and, do actual comments rather than just a smiley face or just a like, the more you engage with other accounts, the more likely you are to be seeing their posts first as well, which should stop the having to scroll through pages and pages. But I mean, we're all following so many people, aren't we? I'm following like 800 people. And sometimes I go through and I look at posts. You can go through Instagram and look at posts that you have engaged with the least. And you can actually go through, and it does encourage you to not get rid of those posts, but to check if you still want to follow them. So I think that's quite handy. And I do that a lot. But yeah, I do think the notification thing is quite good if you're, if you have a specific goal, not like me, and you're just there for the reels.
No, that's a great tip, though. I didn't actually know you could do that. This is me being super old-fashioned and like keeping an actual list in the notes section of my computer and going, I need to go see what this person's posted. But I totally agree. The more that you actually engage with that content, the more you see it organically in your feed. Because I kind of did a little bit of a purge. For a while, I was kind of, everybody that followed me, I would follow them back no matter what. No matter, even if it wasn't really relevant to something that I was doing or what I was interested in. But what a lot of those people are doing is following you, and then as soon as you follow them back, they unfollow you. There's that whole game, which is really annoying. So I've kind of gone in and looked at that, who do you engage with the least sort of thing, and got rid of some stuff that way. So I think if you are mindful about who you follow and who you engage with, it does make your feed better, I guess.
Totally. That is you've hit the nail on the head there, really, because there's other things like follow trains as well. Follow trains and everyone, and I really do not like them. Just follow people that you're actually, like me and you started following each other because we liked each other's stuff. You commented on some of my stuff. I went to say, oh, who's this girl? She's commenting on my stuff. I'm going to go see who she is. Looked at your stuff, thought, oh, I like her. Oh, she's in Glasgow. Oh, I like her hair. You can follow people just because you like their hair. That is totally acceptable. But that is the best way to build a following. I think just following people you're genuinely interested in, that you really want to have a conversation with. Don't do all this follow for follow. Like the amount of people that I often get, people that will follow me and then they'll drop off a few days later if I haven't followed them. But I'm not going to be like bullied into following them. That's a harsh term, but very loosely. You know, I'm going to follow who I'm interested in, who I want to talk to, whose stuff I want to see, who has valuable content, who does the best reels. Flat white websites.
They're brilliant, aren't they?
They're amazing. And they're fun. They're so fun, but they also post. They are a really good example, actually, of having fun and just putting something a bit silly on there. But they also post amazing, valuable content. Yeah, so go give them a follow. But yeah, definitely.
Fun. Yeah, I think that might be the key, is just being a little bit more mindful and not following into these traps like the follow trains and the follow for follow and all that and getting obsessed. Like I used to have an app that would show me when people had followed me, and then I was like, this is ridiculous. If I'm following accounts that I care about, even if they're not going to follow me back, it makes sense to keep following them. And it really starts to make social media feel like quite a negative place if that's all you're paying attention to is those kind of vanity metrics. So I think focusing on the positives is really good. And those are some great tips for kind of just being a little bit more mindful about how you're spending your time online. So thanks for that.
I love the mindful thing. The mindful thing is a really good way to think of it. I really like that.
So you have now shared loads of sort of very great positive tips with us. And I like to end off every episode by asking the business owner if there's something that they've learned the hard way. So, I mean, I think for most of us, we learn by trial and error, especially when we're starting out in business. But I'd love to know if there's one thing that sticks out of your head that that you learned the hard way, or that you wish you would have known before you kind of started out in business.
Oh, that's a tricky one. I think a lot of social media managers have found this out as well, actually. Not throwing them under the bus, but one thing I have massively learned is that you need to be really selective about who you work with. When you're picking clients, when you start out, you're looking for anyone to work with, really, aren't you? Because you're stressed out. I've started my business quick. I've got to make some money. Oh my God. I haven't had any clients for 2 months, and you just take anyone. Not to say that I've taken anyone. I have been super lucky in that I've had all really amazing, lovely, creative. I've had so many creative business owners that I've done social media management for, and all amazing and lovely. But I have chosen, like at the very beginning, people that were they were just wanting to get onto social media. They weren't wanting to go through all of the steps that I teach people that you need to go through. You need to build a strategy. You can't just jump in you can just jump in and start posting any old rubbish, but it's better if you start with the strategy, start with your brand, tone of voice, the 3 little words, all that stuff. And that takes time. But yeah, in the beginning, I did work with a few people that were just keen to jump right in. And it wasn't my best work, because I did just let them not lead me astray, so to speak. But I wanted money. I was so excited to have a client. And, because they were just wanting to jump in, it wasn't my best work. And I don't regret it, but I decided after, a short period of time that it's important to choose your clients. Don't let them choose you. Work with people that you really feel an affinity with, and you both have not the same values as much, but you both believe in the same things, you both work the same way, and just choosing people that you're gonna not have a great time with, because you're not going drinking with them, but people that are the same as you, and have the same sort of business values, and you're going to be able to get the best out of them, and they'll get the best out of you. I think it is really difficult in the beginning, because you just want to work. And I think you just really need to take the time. It's okay to say no to clients. I think everybody says yes at the beginning to everyone. But yeah, I think it's really important to really look at who you're working with, and it's okay to say no.
That's such a good one. I've definitely learned that one the hard way as well, because you're right. At the beginning, you just go, I want to build a portfolio. I want to get working. I want to do this, and you take it on. And yeah, I don't regret it either, because you learn lessons in that way as well about who you love to work with, who you work best with, how you create your best work. But yeah, I think that's a really good one, and probably one that most of us need to learn the hard way. But the quicker you learn it, the easier it will be on you. So thanks for sharing that. Well, I think I better let you go. We've had a great conversation. You've shared loads of great insight, and I think we've all gotten to know you a little bit better. So thank you so much for that. The last thing I wanted to ask is just where to find you online. Where can we find you?
I am mostly on Instagram, so I'm trying to follow my own advice and not be everywhere at once, which I did do at the beginning. You can find me on Instagram at WeBitSocial. And I am a little bit on Facebook at WeBitSocial again, but Instagram tends to be the place that you can catch me, and it's the place I love. You know how much I love Instagram. You've got to pick, that is another thing, you've got to pick your social media platform that you love, that you want to spend time on, and it won't be as much of a chore. So come DM me at WeBitSocial on Instagram.
Cool. Well, I will put those notes up in the show notes, those links up in the show notes for you as well, to make it really, really easy. But thanks so much, Marti. And yeah, we'll stay connected online.
Thank you so much. That was so much fun. You popped my podcast cherry.
Woohoo! It wasn't so bad, was it?
It wasn't so bad. We got there in the end. And I haven't sworn. I'm slightly disappointed in myself that I haven't sworn.
I don't even know who you are.
There you go. I feel okay with myself now.
Brilliant. Thanks, Marti.
Thank you.